Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Shooting. And I know it's no longer Wednesday, it is actually Thursday. Yeah. Ran into some scheduling issues, and then today got the show all set, and there were problems with it all along the way, and I have nobody to introduce because I have nobody to do the show with. Um, I actually rescheduled the show because Andrew had a prior commitment yesterday, and talked to him earlier today, and I haven't been able to reach him. So, maybe he could pop in. I don't know. But we are going to try to soldier on. I've never done a show by myself. This show kind of works with the banter, so I'm kind of out here without a net. So, the first thing that I would like to do every week, I highlight who I think gave the best performance of the week in WWE. And for this week, I felt it was a dual performance that won me over, which was the main event of Payback, which saw Roman Reigns take on Braun Strowman. Everybody knows I'm a big Roman Reigns mark. Yay! He was not victorious, and he got pretty messed up after the match, but I like the angle. I enjoyed everything about it. I like the fact that there were fans that were thanking Strowman and telling Roman he deserved it. I just kind of felt pretty numb to it. I think I've grown numb to a lot of the whole Roman Reigns debate. Should he be the top guy? Who should be the top guy? He's not a draw, this, that, and the other. It's just like, I enjoy him. I enjoy what I enjoy, and I'm just going to continue to watch. I'm going to work on getting another co-host, but it might be a while. Checking the thread. So, yeah, everybody said I got this, but that's cool. You guys, you could ask me questions or anything. Of course, the main event I loved, but I actually really enjoyed most of the card. The House of Horrors match, I could kind of see what they were going for, but like in 2017, I think you either go like way campy and over the top, or you go very, very violent. And then they kind of half-assed it. It was really pathetic, I thought. It's just like, this wasn't for a title. So, like, heels win clean all the time now. Alexa Bliss just won clean on the same pay-per-view. So I don't understand. Like, I get what they're trying to do with, like, gender coming in interfere, and they'll give heat for their match. But, well, like, what about Bray Wyatt? He's just flailing out here on the limb. It was so pathetic. And it's just like the thing where Kurt Angle, he came to talk about pretty much like, I think, yeah, it's the biggest angle on Raw is like Braun Strowman destroying everybody, and especially Roman Reigns. It's like the biggest thing that the crowd cares about. So Angle's out here talking about injuries, and like we're saying, well, what's next? we really don't know what's next because Bray Wyatt came out and just, I don't even know what the point of Bray coming out was. Like this, like I'm reading you guys. Yeah, he does look like a goon, Diamond Dogs. I absolutely agree. It's just like, and Kurt Angle, there's a gif of Kurt Angle just looking around like he's not very sure. It's a very real moment. It's like not kayfabe. He's like, he doesn't really know how he's supposed to react. Like, am I supposed to be scared or defiant? Because this is a joke, right? You know? So I found it's just, I really wish like, Bray should be taken off TV. I'm a very big fan of him, of the man, of Wyndham Rotunda. I really am, and I think there is something there. But I kind of feel like Vince wanted like a successor to the Undertaker because he knew Undertaker was getting older and eventually he was going to retire, and so he wanted to bring like another supernatural guy in, but he just fucked it up from the beginning. I don't even think Bray should have ever been supernatural. I think he should have just been like a master manipulator and a seducer, you know, somebody who can tap into somebody's dark side. There are people like that exist in real life and they don't have to control thunder and lightning for them to be scary. And I think also, I don't know how long Vince has actually been around real kids because like the kids that he targets, like my oldest child is 10. So it's like he's still targeting these kids, and my kids, like, entertainment is so far advanced now that my kids laugh at goofy shit like this. These guys aren't scary. House of Horrors was hot garbage. Yeah, it was. It was hard garbage. The House of Horrors wasn't even scary. It was just a dirty house. And then Bray cut that promo this week saying Randy is trapped there forever. Yeah, he did say, thank you for reminding me of that, Matt. He said, Randy is trapped there forever. And I was thinking, I'm pretty sure I'm going to see him on SmackDown. And there he was on Smack. Like, Bray Wyatt is the biggest joke. And the problem is he's a joke and he's not even funny. Like, it's just a sad joke. It's like a joke. Would you please stop telling this joke every time he comes up? To the point where you kind of regret that character being inserted into things. Like, he is not the eater of worlds now. He is the ruiner of storylines. And Wyndham deserves better because the character that he and Dusty created is not this person. This is a Vince McMahon. This is what Vince does. He's a great promoter. He sucks at creative. And he's jealous of other people who do have that talent. He wants to, he's some creative genius. No, you're a promotional genius, and there's nothing wrong with that. I also think, for some weird reason, like, wrestling made Vince McMahon super duper wealthy and famous. Yet he hates wrestling, like the weirdest shit. But yeah, so we're talking about House of Horrors, and that's who I wanted to just call to the front of the class. Like, everybody that's responsible. And I also want to say Bray, because there are 4 people that Vince, 4 of the newer guys that Vince says, yeah, he thinks that they are cut out of the same cloth as the older wrestlers, and they grabbed the brass rings, and that was pretty much the Shield and Bray Wyatt. So if Vince wasn't just pulling names out of his ass, like, what is Vince's definition of grabbing the brass ring? Because I don't see it with Bray. he should like taking him off television for a few could do a lot for him. Yeah, I think taking him off TV and making people forget this stuff that happened, I think that would really help. And like I don't think he has to win matches. He has to affect people. And I've made this point several times. Like WWE doesn't really want to change their characters that much. Like for, John Cena is the same guy. And it's always funny to me because like I never was a Cena hater. I was just never that into him. And I'm still not that into him. I mostly like him because he dates Nikki Bella. That's just the truth. But like his character never fucking changes. And he does the same thing over and over. And he has the same story over and over. And his opponents say the same things to him over and over. Like he never fucking changes. It's like fucking Groundhog Day with John Cena. Even like the good stuff that he's been doing on SmackDown, it's the same fucking story over and over. But, it's okay now because John no longer has to absorb all of the hate. Somebody else has it. So he can be appreciated for what he's doing now. And I just hope like Bray could get to a point where WWE gets to a point where characters like Bray Wyatt, who are meant to change other characters, can succeed, because that is the big fault in Bray. Yeah, he has been geeked out in a lot of matches, but like I think if he were out there affecting top guys, it would be much better. Yeah, Bray is. I could talk forever about Bray. It's just a damn shame. But the next match that I would like to discuss from Payback is actually Alexa Bliss versus Bayley. And I kind of realized that I don't know what it is. Women's matches, like I was an OG smart, so women's matches weren't discussed and analyzed in depth like this, like the men before. And people really like, Trish was the best one they had and they were going to push her. So like, there wasn't like a crop of different women that different people could get behind and want to be at the top. So like, I see the mistakes they're making with Bayley, but it really doesn't bother me because I don't think that because Alexa Bliss is getting pushed that women's wrestling is going to go backward, because I don't think that's like Alexa Bliss, I don't think that's in her character. Like putting her on Raw is the best thing that could have happened, because she's really in there with like Bayley and Sasha are like the two best women's wrestlers on the roster, especially for wrestling a WWE style that gets over with crowds. Because Alexa's matches were dying. Like, and the only match that she really had that like I can remember even is like, well, I can remember like certain spots, but I can't remember a crowd really being into Alexa Bliss except for like the first time she faced Becky in Glasgow last year. But the rest of their matches were like dead, and I was like, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the chemistry or not, but I would hope that she gets better, because that's the only thing that Alexa has to improve on. Now to get to poor Bayley, Lord, like I think Bayley's just going to be like the key. At a certain point, I kind of feel like she might get rejected, because there are two way cooler options for like grown men in Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss. Just out of those two. And like, I like what they did this past Monday, but yeah, Bailey was kind of like a sad sack for a minute there, and I was like, I don't know. You can't keep having somebody like spit out like fire on the microphone against somebody and they fail to. Please stop putting her in promo battles with people. Like, as I said, yikes. I can't get over like the need for everybody to just like do 20-minute promos when like this did not used to be a thing. Like Stone Cold very rarely did 20-minute promos. Wait a minute. Who is this?
This is Mr. Big Money Drew.
I am being joined. Thank you. I've just had to sit here and talk for like 15 minutes.
I am so sorry.
But like the people in the thread helping me out, and I've been reading their comments and stuff. But yeah, we're going
I've
over
been doing my own solo little thing for a little while, so I'm starting to get used to talking by myself, so I know exactly how you feel.
right. So Payback, that's where we were, and just to do a little catch up. We already talked about the main event in the House of Horrors match. So what we just really, you can go and give your thoughts on, Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns first.
Okay. Well, yeah, I like, well, I don't think a lot of people do know, but we constantly talk about Roman all the time together.
Yes.
And, we love Roman. I love Roman. I'm just not a huge fan of the character right now. I'm very much in tune with the guy, for sure. Joe Anoa'i. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it, but
I don't think anybody but them do, so that's okay.
Yeah. I think that match was really good. I was surprised that they had Roman lose. Actually, I really thought that Roman was going to win.
Well, people who listen to this show, they know I already predicted he was. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love how they portrayed Braun in this match. I wasn't really a fan of what they did before, like the past couple of weeks. The dumpster match, I think that was silly.
What did you like the ambulance stuff? Because that made me stop watching for a minute. When he pushed, oh no, I felt traumatized when he pushed over the ambulance, like legit, for real. I did not like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of feel like, and I talked about this on my own show, I feel like they did this in the wrong order in order to sell the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but like, I guess like if he does it like
first,
Yeah.
And then the ambulance should have been, the Monday before Payback, so that we're like, wow, this is going to be a big deal. But of course, timing with Roman's brother sadly passing away, it probably wouldn't have ended up happening anyway. So it probably better to happen the way that it did.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the match. I thought that was a really decent main event, because if the House of Horrors main evented, boy, that would have been a real sour note for the end of the show.
The crowd hated the recorded part of that match. Like, they audibly booed anytime the video package went to it. But like when they got back in the arena, like they were okay with it. So like it was weird to me, because like this is the same crowd going delete, delete. So you don't know what the fuck you're chanting, do you? Oh well, WWE crowd, of course they're sheep. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
continue.
they don't know what they want.
Mm-mm, they
Nobody
don't.
knows. I don't even really know what I want, really. I just go week by week, and what I like, and what I don't, I don't.
Andrew, you know what? I mainly just want to see something that like, cause like I talked about, to Swift about this. Mainly, I just want you to like fuck with my emotions in a good way. But like, what is a good way? It kind of gets complicated, and like where WWE, like the wrestling business, is the carny business. They're supposed to be trying to trick us and fuck us over. Like that's how it started. So like the origin of the business with the relationship that it has to the fans now, I am not that surprised that like people who like were bred out of a business from like con artists basically have such a contentious relationship with actually giving the audience what they want. Because it's like WWE kind of feels like they have to manipulate us in some way. And we know the business now. It's exposed. So how
Right.
how can they trick us and manipulate us when we already know the score? It's a
And
fucked
then
up relationship, man.
yeah. And on top of that, too, what we want is what they don't want to give us most of the time. They kind of give us some leeway with things, but most of the time, when it comes to the live crowds, they boo the faces and cheer the heels. So how do you even we always talk about what Vince is doing and how Vince is not doing the right thing sometimes, but really I don't think that Vince really knows what to do. And we make fun of that and like, oh, Vince needs to go and Triple H well, I don't really 100% agree anymore with Triple H needing to run everything.
Me either.
But
It's triple. Oh God, I'm telling you, like people are going to be a lot more pissed off than they think they are. It's like they listen to Punk's podcast, but the parts with Triple H, they put their fingernails on like, no, I can't hear you. I'm like, the main person he talks shit about.
yeah.
But
Yeah, and
yeah,
I don't
but,
think that
yeah.
I don't think that they know what to do because the fan reaction is so different. Like they go by what they know, and now they have to essentially change what they know, and it's hard to do that, especially and then you have to factor in when somebody gets injured, and how do they push this person properly? Most of the time, the person, the fans are not going to like who they're pushing, and I would never want to be in this position.
No, it does suck. Let's you caught me when we were talking about Alexa Bliss in Bailey. And like I was fine. I know some people were upset that Bailey lost and she should have had a long reign. And I always was apprehensive about Bailey, even when she was in NXT, because I was always thinking like, I just don't like Vince. Hearing this, like I listened to Jim Cornette shoot about WWE and Vince and Kevin Dunn salivating over Sable because that's their idea of like a real woman. And like Bailey could not be any less Sable if she fucking tried. So I think she'll be for the kids, but I don't think like if Vince is going to try to sell it, she's going to be like New Day, but she's not mid card face. They're going to try to replace hers. Like if Alexa keeps getting cheered, they're going to turn her.
Yeah, I can see that happening, and
Mm-hmm.
their match at Payback, it was pretty good. I mean, you know what it is? Alexa is showing us, to me at least, she's showing me, I'll say, because I didn't hear what you said before, but you can tell me what you said. To me, Alexa is showing everyone how very limited the Raw women's division is when it comes to promos and wrestling ability. Because I think that she is just an all-around great wrestler and everything that you would want in a wrestler.
Oh Lord, Andrew would hate you. Oh no, he would be like, in ring, he would go it. Well, see, here's the thing about Alexa in her in ring. She doesn't have to. She can wrestle a match, and she's like Ric Flair, right? Where it's like she doesn't have to do flashy moves because she tells a story during her matches. And like, I'm a person who's big into psychology. Like, I like cruiserweights, but I'm really not going to get into cruiserweights unless they're like great, like Rey Mysterio or Eddie Guerrero, you know. But like every 205 Live, like I tried, and I kept falling asleep and missing Talking Smack. So I was like, I watch something else before Talking Smack comes on.
Yeah, I haven't watched 205 Live for weeks, so I understand.
I've watched little bits that people tell me are good, but it's still like, it's okay. But like, I've always been kind of a size queen, and I like the little guys. But most of my favorite wrestlers, except for like Brett and Sean, were like pretty big dudes. Yeah, but Alexa the way she carries herself, the way she talks, I like. For wrestling to be like, The Rock is the biggest fucking wrestler ever, and please miss me talking about his technical skills. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's about telling a story. It's about captivating an audience. And Alexa Bliss, like, the only person that I think in the division that matches her is Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
Those two have, like, I cannot wait till they feud, but I think they're going to push it. Like, I think they felt it in that tag match, that first tag match that Alexa had, and her and Sasha got in the ring, and like the crowd felt it. Like, everybody felt, like, everybody thinks they hate each other, but it's just something. It might be like HBK Brett type of thing, where it's like, I want to be the best. No, I'm the best. And then it turns into like, I really don't like this person for real, like, and I want to hit them in the face.
Yeah.
And it's things like that that have always been compelling. Like, I always ask people when they talk about the stories in WWE, like, where is this great era of storytelling? Point me to it in WWE, because I'm a writer, and let me in you on a little secret. They've never had a great wrestling era of storytelling. Never.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
Ever. Where like all these great, as a WWF fan, long fan, I've been like, at the most, like maybe 80% satisfied with the company. And that was like WrestleMania 20. And it like lasted for a month. So, you know, yeah.
My wrestling fandom only really started in the PG era. So and late into the PG era, not like 2009, 2010. I'm talking 2012. So my first, actually, well, I've said it before elsewhere, but I stopped watching around 2000. I was really only like piggybacking off of somebody that I knew. So I didn't really know the WWF that well, but I was a real big Stone Cold Steve Austin fan just from back then. I was only, I was 9 years old. So, and then I took a long break very long. And my first show back was a Monday night after WrestleMania. I think it was 28 or 28 or 29 when Brock Lesnar came back and F5 John Cena. That was my first show
That was
back.
after 28. That was after 28. That was like part of Cena's worst year ever, but he still fucking won the match. Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, it didn't really lose, what it had back then. So I was very interested, and I tuned in the next week. And that was my Mark days, where I was just completely into what John Cena was doing, and I was cheering him on. I had known John Cena from The Marine, but I never watched WWE. So that was interesting to see, my fandom from 2012 to now. Now I'm just like a completely different person.
Just a jaded ass, cynical ass Mark. Like, oh, the happier days when I knew nothing of this.
Yeah. I wish I could go back.
We all do. Like, oh, Drew, you want to know, like, most OG Smarks, the day we became the Smart, or like the week or whatever, you want to know when that was? The freaking Montreal Screwjob. Like, even if you, like, had a sense that wrestling was scripted and shit was going on, like, when the Montreal Screwjob happened, that was, like, right when AOL started popping. And, like, it's weird as hell to, like, we have this great Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels feud just going to Survivor Series. And then next thing you know, like, obviously everybody with eyes knows Bret did not fucking tap out. Why are they ringing the bell? Why are they saying Shawn Michaels won the match? This is bullshit. And then hearing through, and then, like, you totally, like, as a Mark, expecting Bret to show up the next night. Oh no, he doesn't show up. Vince McMahon is sitting here talking about Bret screw Bret. You're talking, what? Wait a minute, what? What is going on? Vince McMahon is the fucking announcer. Why is he talking about what's going on here? So you go to the internet and you like, and you read it and you're just like, oh my good golly, Miss Molly. And for a lot of us, like, because I know some people, like, you find out wrestling's fake, you're going to hate it. That made me love it even more. It's like, oh, wow. These guys do all this stuff to each other, like, voluntarily, and, like, they're cooperating. Wow, yeah. It was so, yeah.
And that's when it all started.
That's so, like, it's always Vince's fault that shit like this happens. It's his fault. He drove us to the internet to find out how did Bret screw Bret. Yeah. So what else happened that was noteworthy at Payback? Oh, Sheamus and Cesaro turned heel on the Hardys, and the Hardys might start becoming broken. I like Sheamus and Cesaro. I've always been in favor of this tag team when everybody else was shitting on it. Like, the best of 7, and people were like, well, they should have got an individual title shot. And I was like, so at the time, the champions on Raw were Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. So you mean to tell me, okay, so if Sheamus won, who was a heel, he was probably going to face Roman Reigns for the United States Championship. Ooh. We know how that story's going to end, right?
I never want to see that again.
Right. And then if Cesaro won, he would have faced Kevin Owens and put on a great match, but got dinked out in a way that made neither one of them look better. We knew how that story was going to end. It's not like he was actually going to win the Universal Championship. So when people were shitting on it, I was like, this is the best freaking idea. Like, you need tag teams. these guys are great in tag teams. They probably will be great together. And look, they're great together. Like Sheamus
Yeah.
was getting pops. That's the only thing that kind of like pissed me off about them being heel. Sheamus was getting over as a face. And it was just like really great to see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
They had to do it for the
I've
Hardys,
been a
I
big
guess.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of the Hardys coming back. I'm really excited because them I didn't see. They weren't even really on my radar back when I was watching 2000.
Oh,
So
mm.
it's a real pleasure to see, especially with what happened in TNA with the broken gimmick. That
Did you
really
catch that?
when
You
I had
watched
cable,
it, of course.
when I had cable, I watched TNA to see that happen. I watched the final deletion, and I was just fascinated by it. That wrestling could go there when it hasn't really gone there before. And yeah, so now Sheamus and Cesaro attacked them, and this past Monday, when Matt Hardy did that delete thing before charging the ring, that's the first time they actually acknowledged the broken gimmick on TV. Like they actually zeroed in on that.
I think you're
So,
breaking up, Drew.
am I breaking up? Uh-oh.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit.
I'm trying
I
not
can
to
hear
move.
you.
You can hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I really do appreciate you doing this with me, though.
That's no problem. You caught me really at the right time. I literally just walked in the door when you asked me to come on with you.
Yay, lucky me. I was like, well, I have two Andrews on the internet that I love talking about wrestling with. I can't get one. I'll get the other one.
Yeah. Thankfully,
You were the first
my
person I
rebooting,
thought of. So thankfully you're available. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, my rebooting failed me the first time. So I had to do it really quickly the second time, and thankfully I was able to come on. Hopefully my breaking up is not my internet going out again, because I don't want that to happen. So yeah, I'm happy with what they're doing with Sheamus and Cesaro now. I think a heel turn was probably the best thing for them to do. And like you said, Sheamus was starting to get over as a face, which I find hilarious because literally like a month before,
Yes.
nobody cared about him at all.
At all.
And to be honest with you, I was one of the detractors that didn't like Sheamus and Cesaro as a tag team after the Best of 7, but they slowly started to sell me on it until Payback, and I was like, I tweeted Mick Foley and said, "I'm sorry, I doubted you." That was the best tag team to put together in the moment. Look at me being a mark on Twitter. Yeah, so I was really happy to see that, and we haven't seen Cesaro as a heel for about, I think, 2 years now. Or maybe just about 2 years. I think ever since he won the Andre the Giant. Yeah, since he won the Andre the Giant Memorial match, I think, at WrestleMania 31.
I think they tried to make him a heel, like with Heyman, but the crowd wasn't having it, so they just gave up.
Yeah, that didn't last more than a month, I think, that little Heyman Cesaro pairing. But yeah, I mean, I actually was not a fan, but I was paying attention to what he was doing when he was a heel. So I like seeing that especially when a babyface turns heel and they change up everything about them. Like, I'd like to see new music now and just like that kind of cockiness come out of Cesaro. So I'm hoping, that they do well by it. And so far, so good. It's only been, 1 week, but it's made me interested in watching next week and seeing what happens. And just, and with the Hardys too. So if the Hardys turn broken because of it, then I only see good things coming out of it. So hopefully, they do the broken gimmick right. I don't want it to become some carnival jokey type of a thing.
I think because Matt Hardy is like from the Attitude Era, he's older. I think Vince might listen to him over versus others in this situation. But then again, like New Day pretty much got to do for like a year and a half, almost 2 years, got to do whatever the hell they wanted. So yeah, so who knows? It might work. Like New Day got to do pretty much whatever the hell they wanted.
Yeah, I was surprised that they were able to get away with what they got away with.
Vince gave them the division for a long time, just like, here, have everything. So they must have made Vince a lot of money. You need to see those merch receipts, damn it. Okay, I think that's enough about Raw, because I could talk about Raw all the time, and I don't know if you're like SmackDown biased like Andrew is, but he is.
Lately, no, but I did have bias before. I did have bias
before SmackDown was gendered.
When everyone was just in love with SmackDown before the Superstar shakeup, then I had bias.
I still was like, but hold on, wait a minute. I was still criticizing them. I was like, there were some episodes I was not into, and I said it, and I was like, I didn't like a good 89% of the Ellsworth story. I wish it had just never happened. Now we're stuck with this dork mucking up a perfectly fine women's angle. He serves no purpose. Why is he here?
And
go away.
Yeah, that was probably the one thing before the Superstar shakeup that I could have critiqued, because him beating AJ Styles that many times just was not right. Even though it was with interference,
it wasn't right. I saw that as like, Daniel Bryan is biased, but he acts like he's fair. He says he has a fair show, but he does not, because he put he put AJ Styles in a match with Ellsworth and made Dean Ambrose, the guy he was feuding with, the referee. How is that not stacking the deck? If the Authority had done something similar, they're evil and terrible. They're like, well, but AJ deserves him. Like, but being fair means you don't do that. Especially if you're supposed to be in a position of power, you're not supposed to abuse it and do whatever you want and paint stuff in your image. He did the same shit that the same thing that he did to the Authority. He's doing on SmackDown. He's letting all these fucking losers and shit run amok. He is. Is he not? He's letting all these fucking losers run amok and win championships and shit.
Look at I don't call Breezango a losers, because I actually really like that team.
I like a lot of
look at, everyone who's a contender right now on SmackDown,
on lower card guys on Raw, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're jobbers on Raw. They're contenders on SmackDown, and I am sorry. That's why the ratings are dropping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's why they watched their show, and the moment you decided to make Jinder fucking Mahal, I hope India's worth it. I hope whatever they're getting over there in India is worth SmackDown's ratings. Because they might not rebound after this. Especially if the next challenger is supposed to be Rusev. Who's not, he's like a upper mid-card jobber. You're going to put him in the main event now.
Yeah. I mean, there's only two main, I really realized this today. There's only two main eventers, real main eventer. Well, I would say three real main eventers. And with John Cena away, that's Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, and AJ Styles. Those are like the top people right now, and one of them is not there, and the other is in a feud with a jobber, and the other one, at least, AJ Styles, at least he'll be, in a feud with Kevin Owens now, but AJ Styles is like the top guy really right now because nobody cares about the WWE Championship feud. And Brock, where's Brock? Brock is nowhere to be found. Somebody's got to put the Universal Championship on a milk carton.
I would argue that Roman's in there because people care a whole fucking lot about him. The people who are left care either fucking way. It's like,
yeah. Well, yeah, I'll agree with that.
Watching Payback, and there were people that were there, and they were like, oh yeah, it definitely was at its loudest when he came out. Most definitely. I've seen this man in person. Have you? I've seen him in person. He touched my hand.
I am very jealous.
Are you? I'm going on June the 9th, and I have aisle seats, and I have 3 adorable kids. So I am hoping to get a selfie. Because he this is another reason why I like him. After his matches, he doesn't just wave or whatever. He goes around to everybody who paid for ringside seats and signs shit and touches people's hands and takes selfies and shit. So I'm hoping.
I know where I need to be sitting for a Raw live event for sure.
Oh yeah, if you go to like a live event, he's on the card. He is going to come to around the barricade. He's gonna hit that barricade and sign stuff, take selfies, touch people's hands. He stayed out there for after the match was over for like a good 5 minutes. And most of the crowd that was on the floor did not leave until he left. So I saw it myself. I felt it myself. It was like the atmosphere changes. It's just like WWE is fucking it up because he should be a heel.
Yes,
I'm going to beat that drum to death.
Huge proponent of him being a heel. I really want that to happen.
The thing about SmackDown is you can only AJ Styles on Talking Smack, and it was great. He said SmackDown makes them and Raw takes them, and I had to laugh because I was like, wait a minute. I thought the consensus was that SmackDown won the shakeup. So how is it possible that SmackDown makes the stars and Raw take them? Because they didn't take any the last shakeup. So
the only one that was really upset that they lost was Miz.
Oh, but I'm not really upset that because obviously Miz is going to be wrestling the main event matches and making sure the indie geeks stop kicking each other and no selling to tell a coherent story in the ring.
And we know that he'll never be injured.
No, he won't. And he's going to be super duper entertaining. The thing about Miz is that, I think people legit do think he started getting good on SmackDown, but he was good before that. When he got Maurice, something changed. And he got Maurice right after WrestleMania. The brand split didn't happen until July. That's 4 months. 4 solid months. And he was in the Intercontinental Championship feud with Cesaro, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. And It was hot. It was good. And Miz was one of the driving forces of why it was good. So he did his thing on SmackDown, but he's going to do his thing. I think they've really been pushing like that he's a 6-time Intercontinental Championship. They're going to have him win like at least 4 more times. I'm not saying like 4 times in 4 months. But I think that's going to be the like top for his career, that he's going to have the most Intercontinental Championship reigns. I think WWE is going to give him that like maybe a year or 2 down the road.
And he deserved it.
He does, because he's a solid guy. And I know a lot of people want him like in the main event, but there are legit some people who are never going to take him seriously enough.
Yeah, that's a shame too, because he really improved with me one of the most out of everybody, because I hated him. Like, he had go away heat with me before the draft, and then he started just going in on Daniel Bryan, and I started loving him more and more. It was just the weirdest thing, because Daniel Bryan was like one of my all-time favorites since I came back, and this is kind of like why I'm salty that they moved him to Raw, because I loved the dynamic between him and Bryan so much, especially on the Talking Smack segments. And there's no Raw talk really. They only do Raw talk like after the pay-per-views. So they have to really give him solid mic time, mostly during his Miz TV segments. But the problem with his Miz TV segments is that he gets geeked every time. Like, he never gets the upper hand in a Miz TV segment. He always gets beat down or runs away from a beatdown. So, and they did it good this week. They had him come out, and there wasn't any Miz TV involved. So I was happy with that. But I don't really like the Miz TV segments, because he just looks like a dork in those segments. And it's much better when he just has the mic naturally walking down, like he did this past Monday.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, because like even Finn Balor said at Payback, we all know how this is going to end. And I was exactly. Like, yes, we do. But yeah, the only thing that right now I'm really excited for on SmackDown is the whole NWO type thing that's going on. What did you think about that? Did you think that Becky teasing that she was going to join the welcoming committee?
The welcoming committee. This,
and then she doesn't.
This is a shame that Swift isn't here right now, because I was looking forward to hearing him talk about this so much. Because he was selling the shit out of this angle in the Daily. Being so into Becky turning heel, and that his tweet got put on the scroll last week during Talking Smack 2 weeks ago about not trusting Becky. I think that was just hilarious. And I, for a split second, I thought, is this actually happening?
Yeah, me too.
Kind of like as she was shaking the hands down the line, I started going, this is like that classic babyface thing that they do, where they try and trick the heels into thinking that they're going to join them. And then when she got to Ellsworth, I knew immediately. Like that little, like, yeah, come here. Let's do a hug. I just knew. I was hoping for like a suplex or something, but I was happy with what we got. But, and a lot of people are saying that it wasn't good that she, tried to fight them and then they just beat her down. But I think isn't that like the story that they tell with her all the time? Is that she's one of like the classic underdogs that always gets beaten down, and
Yeah.
then when she rises from that, she gets her big moment and everyone's cheering. So I didn't really mind that she got beat
I
down.
think the issue is that Becky has never gotten that big moment yet. And that even this is in service of Charlotte's big moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the concern that like they're gonna push. They're pretty much going to do on SmackDown what they did with Charlotte on Raw, except this time she'll be a face.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't want her to be a face. I don't think that she, her first
Me
face run
either.
was
I don't
bad.
think so. I don't it's not even that. I just enjoy her character and I would like to see that character, because that character can't be a face. You have to change it fundamentally in some way. She has to learn some lesson or stop being so arrogant, So I would like to see that character have stories outside of a championship story. I don't want to see her as a face fighting
Since
against
she
the
moved up to the main
odds.
roster, since she moved up to the main roster, she's been involved in the championship feuds.
It's just been nothing but championship feuds for Charlotte. And it was
really
like that in NXT until she left. She was leaving, so they took her out of the championship.
The only thing is that they started her out with the PCB thing, right? And
but that eventually, like the championship wasn't even mentioned with that. But who got that was Paige's story. She totally bogarted Paige. The whole point of Charlotte and Becky coming up and Sasha joining Naomi and Tamina supposedly was to even the odds, because the Bella Twins had Alicia Fox and they were doing all these sneaky and underhanded things. Somehow, in a very short order, that turned into just trios matches for no reason. And then all of a sudden, Charlotte's the number one contender.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess we'll just have to accept that now.
Obviously, but I don't think Charlotte as a face, especially if you're going to push her over Naomi and Becky, I don't think it's going to work the way they intend. And I also agree with the notion that there needs to be another leader of this welcoming committee, because these women are like Natalya is the most serious wrestler and she had a farting gimmick. So, yeah. Some people, I'm not ever going to forget that. I don't care what she does. I'm not ever going to forget. They had her farting all over the place. I was a part-time watcher when I saw that for very good reason, because they had women farting all over the damn place. I'm like, what the hell? But yeah, hopefully things will turn around. But like, I liked Breezango's Fashion Files, their vignette. I thought that was great. And I also wondered why they never did anything similar for American Alpha. Like, not like spoofing anything, but like a package to be a sense of who they are. You know what I mean? Right. They never did that with American Alpha. And like Breezango gets a vignette. I don't know.
And I mean, American Alpha was supposed to be the real hot tag team coming out of the draft, and then they had a couple of tag matches, 1 or 2 contendership matches, and then that was pretty much it. So I was upset with that. I was really happy to see them on the main roster, and I don't think that they haven't really done anything right by American Alpha since they came up. So I'm hoping that I would like to see, if Breezango were to win, which I don't think they're going to. I mean, they have American Alpha has a great feud already built in with the Usos, since they were the reason why Chad Gable got the injury. Or was it Gable or Jordan that had the injury?
It was Gable.
Yeah, and they kind of went back to that, and then they just dropped it. And
the Usos just beat them on TV right before Mania.
Yeah, and then for them to not even have, the SmackDown tag team were not even featured.
Yeah, that show was the show was long enough. Like, I'm not gonna complain about anybody who did not get anything special at Mania. Like, seriously, if anything, less people need to get time at Mania. Like, I'm dead ass serious. Like, Alicia Fox does not need a moment at fucking Mania. You know what I'm saying? Sin Cara doesn't need a WrestleMania moment. I'm fucking sorry. Like,
yeah.
I'm serious. Everybody doesn't need a fucking WrestleMania. This is a special show of the year. Fit them on the B show. That's what the fuck the B shows used to be for. Like, I wasn't even able to watch all of it, but I didn't watch most of the pre-show. And then, like, something happened where, like, my cable went out. It was just out in my area, and my internet was out, so I couldn't watch. And then I just took a nap. And I took like a 3-hour nap, and I woke up, and WrestleMania was just ending when I woke up. And I was like, it went off in the middle of WrestleMania. Well, it couldn't have been. I guess it was the middle. But, like, some of the, I mean, it was a good show. It was good, but it was just, yeesh, so long. It could have been 3 separate shows. Have you watched it back? Have you watched all of that show back? Have you? Because I have not. I've watched like
I haven't watched a second of it back.
Oh, you! I can understand, because like there was a moment where I had wrestling overload. Like that next week, I think the next week I watched Raw because that was the ambulance thing, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna check out for a minute.
Okay. Yeah, they did really, really well with Roman right after he retired Undertaker.
Oh, fuck. I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah,
I don't.
I know.
I don't even want to think about it, because this is like one of those Chris Jericho beat the Rock and Stone Cold. Like, years from now, nobody's going to really be talking about how he got geeked out after he beat The Undertaker. They're just going to be like, he retired The Undertaker. Okay. What the fuck ever. That's how WWE does shit. So, is there anything from either show you want to discuss before we move on to an unfortunate subject, but, we cover these type of things?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Kevin Owens, and I was really happy to see him. I didn't really understand why they made him lose at Payback just to win it right, the United States Championship right back on Tuesday. But I'm
guessing, I don't know. I'm guessing Jericho is not going to be out for long on this tour, and they wanted him on SmackDown. I don't know.
Yeah, it just didn't really make sense to me. But I'm happy he's got the U.S. Championship back, and he was quite brutal to Chris Jericho on Tuesday after the match. More so than I can remember him be like Sami Zayn.
Do you know why they did that spot? They actually did that spot because that's how Jake the Snake took out Ricky Steamboat. So it's like,
oh really?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Yes, that's why they did that spot.
Okay. Oh well. All right. So that I appreciate that. That would make sense then. Yeah, but it was vicious, and for the first time, I was actually like, "Wow, Kevin Owens is a bastard." I never really like. I mean, I knew he was a bastard, but I never like outright said out loud, "Wow, he's a bastard." That was just it was a vicious beatdown, especially right at the end with Jericho's neck in the chair right into the ring post. I was like, "Oh my god, I feel so awful for this guy right now." Um, but yeah, it was that was a great close to the show for me, and I'm just a huge Kevin Owens fan. So even though he's a bastard, I will always be a fan of his.
Yeah, I'm a fan when he tries, but when he's a lazy bear and sits in headlocks for 5 minutes, I cannot do him. I can't. I'm sorry. When he's like trying to be cutesy and get the crowd to laugh at him and sitting in headlocks, I'm like, you are disappointing me. You're supposed to be my psychotic murder bear. I'm gonna need to see more murder bear out of you. So let's just talk briefly about the pieces of shit who are publishing, sharing, viewing Charlotte's. I guess, like, I have not seen a stitch of them because I don't go searching for shit like that. But apparently, there's some nude photos of Charlotte on the internet now.
Yes, I heard those today. What a this is absolute trash out there to do
There's
something
so
like
much. There is so much porn on the internet. There are so many women who are like more than happy to show you their naked ass with your consent, who are just as beautiful. And I get it because I've watched sex tapes before. But most of those sex tapes, like the people are like, well, it's going to be out there, so I might as well sell it myself, or certain things like that. But like, or I kind of think it's different. Like if you send a picture to somebody and they own the picture and they publish it, it's different than it's still a shitty thing to do. But it's different than if you're just minding your business and somebody breaks into your personal belongings and steal your pictures and like tries to get money for that. You are a thief. You're a piece of shit. And I hope all the bad things happen to you.
Yeah, I agree. I and you know, I'm happy that they didn't have her toe the line and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry that these pictures came out." You know, you don't have to apologize for that shit.
I honestly believe like Vince is not a prude about shit like that. Like anybody's like, oh, I wonder if so and so is gonna get heat. Like Vince doesn't know people fuck and take, like these are good looking young people. He probably be like, shit, if I look like that, I take pictures of myself naked all the time. You know, it's fucking Vince. So of course Vince, he himself at one point in his life may have been a victim of like blackmail in such a way, was a certain something he didn't want to come out. Come on, he's rich as hell. You know somebody's coming in with something and trying to get money out of him. So of course, this is all this is. It's people trying to make money off of other people's private lives. And Vince probably hates that these fuckers have to deal with that. Now if they blow up like a Kardashian,
Well, yeah, that was.
You might think about it. He's like, hey, it might be your new gimmick. No, it's PG. PG Stephanie would kill that. Stephanie's all about the branding and stuff. She's like,
yeah,
we can't do that. What if your kids Google it?
Well, yeah, but I've never wanted anyone to apologize for something like that coming out because you're only human, you know.
You can do whatever you. Yeah, I mean, it's not illegal, you know.
Yeah,
Take pictures.
and people saying on Twitter, just the most garbage humans out there.
And they're probably, but these people, I would like them to like. Would anyone want to see you naked? No. Shut up about not taking pictures of you. Of course, you're fat, overweight, and gross. Of course, you're not going to take a picture of yourself naked. Charlotte is fucking hot. So, whatever. I've never done it, but like, I'm not going to judge people for what they do. I think that's self-love. And some people will be like narcissistic, but I only think it's like with Derek Jeter, well, like he probably looks at a picture of himself while he's having sex. Like seriously, I read a story like it wrote about Derek Jeter, and like there are pictures of himself all over the place in his house. I'm like, yeah, he loves him some him, huh? Mm-hmm. But I don't see anything wrong with if you want to take nude photos, you want to have sex on camera, you want to have a gangbang on camera. It's your life. I can't live your life for you, and I'm certainly not gonna judge you for being like, hey, this seems strange, but it's also appealing, and everybody consents. So like, if you're not hurting me, possibly at all by your behavior, I'm more concerned about people who want to fucking take folks' health care away. We won't get political. Yeah. We rarely get political, but like, really, this is what you choose to tweet about? Get a life. And like, there are a lot of dipshits out there, and of course there are. Look who our president is. But
yeah, I mean it's and speaking of healthcare, that's a huge thing on my plate right now since I'll be turning 26 in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's let's it's 2017. Let's stop the bullshit and let's just be humans and treat each other as humans and let people be what they want to be and let people have health care. It's not, it's not Jesus will love you if you let people do this. That's no.
Here's my thing. The people that really care about paying for other people's health care, they have no problem with like the government is spending like millions of dollars on like the biggest fucking bombs and airplanes and shit that they've never even fucking used. There's legitimate like aircraft carriers worth millions of dollars that have never taken fight and never participated in a fucking war. But you care about if little Johnny is going to get his parents get up and pull him by his boots. Like, people are so fucking selfish. It's ridiculous. And it just does bleed into wrestling because there are some fans who are so fucking selfish. Like, I understand you paid for your ticket and that's great. But I'm hearing way too many stories lately of other fans who said that the reason why they didn't enjoy going to a WWE event isn't because of the WWE, it's because of the asshole who is sitting next to them.
Yeah, that hinders me from going to events because I've heard.
It's lovely down here where I am. We're all marks. We're all marks. We boo the good guy. We boo the heels and cheer the faces. But yeah, I've heard way too many fucking stories of these people are saying my kid was cursed at for liking this wrestler. We were shouted down when we cheered this person. This person was just drunk and acting belligerent the whole night. I'm like, really? Come on now. Yes, you paid your money, but so did the person sitting next to you. You can have some fucking respect.
Yeah, I think actually
that's all it is. Just respect each other, people.
Brigade wrote this article this week. They got a lot of traffic and so many comments about this exact thing. And I think he was absolutely right. You have to have respect for the people around you, and to see kids covering their eyes and holding on to their parents, and all these people, the "fuck you Roman" chants from after WrestleMania, and
Yeah.
it's insane, and especially if you're at a live event, you don't have to put yourself over like that, and unfortunately for me, I live in Brooklyn, New York. I'm like 15 minutes away from the Barclays Center, so that would be.
So yeah, you're gonna, like, if you want to go to your local show, you're gonna have to deal with that type of environment.
Yeah, and that would
That's
really...
a bleed over from ECW. That is what that is. Like, I know people like, oh well, back in the days, wrestlers used to get stabbed. I was like, yes, that's when people thought this shit was real. This crowd behavior is a old holdover from ECW. It's not WCW. WCW people would throw trash and boo, but they wouldn't come up with chants. Like, ECW crowds used to chant, "She's got herpes" at Francine. So this is that behavior that's some of that ECW shit. That's what that is. And
yeah, I mean, I actually never watched ECW, so
I used to.
and yeah,
It's a lot that's
about
good, but
WWF back then. It's just not. It's not good, and I hope that in the future, it probably will never happen, but I hope that if these smarks are sitting by kids in the future, they at least have the respect to that family sitting there, and you can do your booing, but don't go crazy. The whole "you deserve it" chants to Roman, that was just like beyond.
Yeah, and that makes kids cry. And I'm sorry, you're not a heel. You're not here to make kids cry. Like, people like, oh, people are saying, what about the children? I'm like, exactly, yes. What about the fucking, like, somebody made a post that was like, a lot of us adults watched wrestling as kids and got to go to these events and enjoy their heroes. And now your grown ass is ruining it for the fucking kids in the audience now. My son stopped liking John Cena mostly because of the backlash. My son was like, I don't think he could take it anymore. So he's just stopped liking John Cena.
That's a shame.
And he's 10, so he's very aware, and he watched the Payback because I asked him, because like stuff that's that violent, I don't let my girls watch. My girls have not watched any of their angle at all, especially my 4-year-old, almost 5. My son, I let him watch it, and he was watching it, and he was like, he said, "Are they really saying that he deserves that?" I was like, yes, they are. He had, like, the look on his face, it was classic. And he just shook his head. So, yeah.
Smart kid. Very smart.
You may not care, single wrestling fan, but you do look like a dick to, to a lot of us. Just know that. We're not upset with Vince so much as, like, yeah. And I here's the thing. Some people try to excuse it. It's like, oh, well, they've had so long without their choice at the top. Yes, you could be upset, but being upset doesn't give you a free rein to act like a fucking asshole. That's my only thing. Cheer whoever you want. You can say thank you, Strowman, but I do think you deserve it is a bit too much because, like, it's cool when that happens to, like, Roman Reigns. But, like, there may be a situation where a crowd chanting "you deserve it" at a face gets sketchy, especially if the person that is getting chanted at is a minority and the person attacking them is white. You know what I mean? Or if a woman gets hit, will they chant "you deserve it" if a woman gets hit by a man? Shit like that. There are reasons why, wrestling fans are like the least attractive. Wrestling fans are less attractive to advertisers than NASCAR fans.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean,
that's a problem.
And it's like we were saying before, fandom changes on a whim. Like with a drop of a pin. Just okay, now we're going to cheer this person when we were booing this person. So how do you fault WWE for all their crazy booking changes? Because they have to try and, for the most part, they're here for the fans. Of course, they do their own backstage. Oh, we want to do this with this person. But at the end of the day, I don't think that they know how to book. Not because Vince is old or Vince needs to go away, like everybody, not everybody, but how people say. It's because he doesn't know how to book for these idiot people who boo and cheer. In the same show. In the same show, they could boo one heel, cheer the other heel. They just don't know what to do.
That's an interesting theory. You're right. You are like the fans are kind of like really fickle. Like everybody cared about Daniel Bryan, and after that, like after Daniel Bryan, the biggest consensus from WWE fans is we don't want Roman Reigns, but like all over the place with everything else though.
Yeah, and right now, I think it's Strowman that everybody wants. But is that only because of what he's doing to Roman?
Listen. The guy has not been in. The guy hasn't been in the business long enough, I feel, to give him a big push. Because you just never know when somebody's out there without a net. And also, how you make somebody that's a face that's unstoppable, nobody's going to want to see him beaten. So, like, what's the point? He's just going to beat everybody. See, that's the thing. This is the thing about unbeatable people. Like, the women's division in NXT suffered greatly because nobody's ready for Asuka. And it suffered greatly because nobody's ready for her. It might be cool for Asuka to have this streak, but, like, what about the other women? When somebody dominates to an absurd degree, and I think that's another reason why they think Roman's just going to dominate. He's going to be in the main event for the rest of at least for the next year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 years. That's what they're scared of. Like, every main event is just going to be Roman Reigns winning it every WrestleMania. And, like, that's a legitimate concern. He's done 3 in a row. So I can understand, like, but then you say, well, who do you want? And then you get people shouting over here, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and I want AJ Styles, so. And then you go back, well, do you want it to be Roman? No. So that's the only thing that's the only constant. So Vince is like, well, I know how they feel about this guy, and they're giving him reactions. So I'm just gonna push him until something else works out. I don't know. I don't know what his thinking is, but you have made me think. It is interesting angle. Like WWE can't figure out what the fans want, so Vince is just gonna give him who he wants anyway.
Because he may even think, well, eventually I'll do something right, and they'll start to get behind him. Because that's what they, that's what the fans have done with wrestlers in the past. And and I've always thought, it must be such a terrible position to be in, to have to book the biggest wrestling company on fans who will turn on a dime. They'll cheer. Roman got cheers. Roman was getting cheered for a little while, 2 years ago. And, Vince himself came out multiple times to try and help Roman really get over, let him take, Superman punch him and all that. And very quickly, they just started booing him again. And I think, they do definitely need to do something with his character. I want him to be a heel. You want him to be a heel. A lot of people do. And then you get, at the same time, well, Vince is never going to turn him heel. And, that may be the case only because of what the fans are doing. The fans are essentially making him a tweener, because they'll like something that he does, and then they'll boo something that he does.
Yeah, I honestly, like, if they set it up and had Roman Reigns, he was in the ring with Dean Ambrose, and he cracked Dean Ambrose with a chair. 50-50 if he's getting cheered or not. Seriously, 50-50. Like, some people like, no, they hate him so much. 50-50. I think there might be yes chance after he hits Dean, because, like, that's the signal. He's fucking turned heel, you know what I mean? It's a weird thing, but what I'm not gonna do is to get into, like, pointless. This is like a new angle that you've talked to me about it. Like, most people just talk, oh, you're not a draw. It's you know what I'm saying? It's the same old shit every day.
Yeah.
How could you type out the same shit about the same person every day for 2 fucking years?
Some people have a lot of patience.
They do. Obviously, I don't have that patience. Until the situation changes, even in some small way, then I really don't have anything to offer to the mass discussion out there. Like, I more like to talk about Roman Reigns, even though he's a big symptom. He is a symptom of the problem. He is not the root cause. And, well, people say, well, Vince is the root cause, but it's not that simple. It's WWE's management has been presented this way since the Montreal Screwjob, as I said earlier.
Right.
Ever since then, like, smarks have had just, you're predisposed. You are supposed to distrust Vince McMahon. And if you don't, you're a fucking idiot. Like, that's like smart rule number 1. ye must distrust Vince McMahon as much as possible on everything.
And then to prove the fickle, you've got the fans that boo Roman are always online, Twitter, forums, wrestling sites. Oh, I hate Roman. Oh, he's always in the main event scene. He's always trying to get the title. Vince is shoving him down our throats. And what do? The moment they find out that Vince is showing up on Raw, they cheer. They cheer for him, and they, especially the Raw after WrestleMania crowd, they sing his theme music as he walks out.
And bows
This is
to
the
him.
crowd. This is the crowd that, they say, "Fuck you, Roman," and then they sing Vince's music and cheer him as he comes out. So,
and then when they started chanting "Roman sucks," Vince was like, "Well, if that's the way you feel about it," and then moved on. And the crowd was just like, I guess that's all then. Like, he totally let Vince off the hook because he's a legend. But I don't understand. You're supposed to be sending a message though. He's right in the ring. Send him the message. Stand there and say for 15 fucking minutes, chant about how much you hate Roman now.
And they never do.
Because, like, I don't know if they think they're hurting Roman's feelings. Roman is rich with a beautiful wife and kids. And, like, a lot of women want to have sex with him. You are not hurting his feelings.
No, it's not. Not just women, by the way. But it's I mean, that's the perfect time. And what do they resort to? CM Punk chants every time. But that just does nothing.
The same people who would chant CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. Because they want him to come back.
And that is how you could probably think in Vince's mind, I don't know how to do anything. They should be booing the hell out of me for supposedly shoving Roman down their throats. And this is the reaction that they give me. But 20 minutes ago, they're saying, "Fuck you, Roman." Like they think that Roman is doing the booking here. It's Vince. If you don't like what Vince is doing, you're supposed to tell him. And they do the exact opposite.
Obviously, Roman has done some Jedi mind trick on Vince. He's like, "You will have me main event WrestleMania forever." And Vince is like, "Yes." He said, "Who's going to main event WrestleMania 34? You are. What about WrestleMania 35? You are, Roman. 36. Now sign this contract right here. Okay, Roman, whatever you say." And legit, that's got to be it. It's got to be it. It's weird. Hey, I can't. If I really disliked the lead actor of a show this much, because that's what Roman is. He's the lead actor of the show. If I disliked the lead actor of a TV show that much, and like, I love True Blood. I love that show. I fucking hated Sookie Stackhouse. And the show is about her, right? I could not wait. Somebody eat this fairy. Please eat her. But like, so I can understand hate watching, but like, I don't have anything against Anna Paquin, and I didn't want to see her fail. I would have booed her, I just like, if some eat the fairy though. Oh Lord, she survived. I know the show is about her, but like, she was just the worst. The worst. Like, I don't know. It seems like an awful lot of energy to spend on somebody. Like, if I hate somebody, I want nothing to do with them, really. Like, in entertainment, like, if I'm just turned off on him.
Yeah, and
and they're not entertaining to me. I'm not gonna watch them. I'm not gonna give them my energy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's what I essentially did this past year. I just, before the brand split, I was just, I was pretty much just watching YouTube clips. I didn't even really care about watching the shows live. I used to watch Raw and SmackDown live before it was SmackDown Live, literally live, all the time, every week. I fought.
Yeah.
I fought to keep my cable subscription so that I could watch Raw and SmackDown every week. And once, before the brand split, and especially with Seth Rollins' heel run, I was out of there. I didn't even give a shit about it anymore. It was right around the that HR segment with Kane. I just checked out mentally. I didn't even care anymore.
Seth, you know what? Seth Rollins, people. Okay, here's my thing with Seth. People were like, pretty much blaming the reason why he's not as over now is because when he first came back, oh, he was so white hot. That's because people had amnesia. First, there were a lot of factors at bay. People had amnesia and forgot how much he sucked when he was champion. Okay? They did. Also, Roman had just main evented again, and he had just beaten AJ Styles. He has benefited with being not Roman Reigns more than anybody that Roman has ever faced. Seth Rollins. If they turned him face 2 months later, I'm saying if he could not keep that heat as a heel for 2 months,
the worst thing
that's not Roman's fault.
Yeah, the worst thing that they did was make him a heel when he returned from his injury. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Yes, it was stupid, but Seth Rollins, that is not the reason he's not as over as he should be right now. The reason he isn't is because he's Seth Rollins and he is aggressively mediocre. Even his flippy shit isn't that good. He worked for ROH. He was ROH champion. That's why I guess that's why he had an indie name and he was from NXT. It had a blonde streak in his hair. And I don't get it. I don't get these people who are still talking. He is obviously not a main eventer. I've seen enough main event Seth Rollins matches to know that he is not one of them. It's painfully obvious.
This thing with Samoa Joe, I don't care. It was one of the only matches I really didn't pay attention to at Payback because I didn't care. I was ready for it to just be done with, and then he attacked him on Monday, and they're continuing it. So
I fell asleep on a House of Horrors match, and then I woke up, and then I watched the Joe Seth match, and I almost fell asleep again. So I fast forward to the main event. Oh God,
it's just not good. I'm not really happy with anything that he does.
They need to have Seth and Dean really make up and put those motherfuckers in a tag team where they fucking belong. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you're just reminding me now of something that I saw on Raw that I was super into, and that was Dean interviewing the number one contenders for the triple threat. And then he went to Seth, and they had that one moment where he says, where Seth says, they were talking in third person. And he says, well, Seth Rollins has, some new moves in his arsenal. Dean Ambrose might be surprised. And then Dean immediately, without missing a beat, says, "Nah, Dean's been surprised before. He won't be again."
Right?
And just that moment was so great. It felt so real, calling back to the breakup of the Shield, that
Yeah.
I almost wish that Seth Rollins won the number one contendership match, because I wanted to see them go at it after that. It
That
would
would
have at
be
least
an
made me
interesting
interested.
story, but it's obvious that WWE, since the Shield split, they are not interested in telling a story with that at all. Like, I'm automatically going to hate whenever they do decide to reunite for real, because they're just going to reunite. They're not even going to bro it out.
Yeah. Yeah, they had that one spot when they did the... I think it was the first Payback that they had, where
Yes.
they did that
When
Shield spot after he turned
to
heel
Randy Orton.
on Randy Orton. Yeah. And it's like, why are you doing that? They just want to throw these things in.
Well, you know what? I called that spot actually, but I understand, like, in a combat situation, and I love the way the camera did it, where it's like you could see one of them standing over Randy Orton, and the camera pans back, and like they all look at each other, and like, oh shit, it's all three of them. It was like a familiar spot. That's like, that ex you can't stand, but you meet him for drinks. Next thing you know, you're having sex with him. That was. Afterwards, you immediately regret it. You don't call them back. You're like, why are they texting me? I didn't even mean to do that. So I could forgive sudden bursts like that. But I'm talking about they're going to be for real, putting their fists together and shit. And they haven't broed it out, and I'm going to fucking hate it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's okay at this point for them to never go back to it again.
Well, this is my opinion. Roman's too good for them. Why would the fuck would he? That's going backwards. Why would he need either one of them? Why?
Because Roman really is, even though, the reaction is generally negative, or, it's like, it would be either 50-50 negative, positive, or a little bit more negative. He's the one that gets the most reaction out of anybody.
He was the one that made that group legit.
And yeah, I mean, he, when he would get the hot tag in the Shield, everyone went apeshit for it. So I do agree with you there. I mean, he was he's not the architect, but he was the one that everyone was really paying attention to.
Yeah, he was. And those two are lucky as shit they were in a group with him, because they're going to be booked relatively well just because they were in a group with him for the rest of their time in that company. They're lucky as shit that CM Punk was like, why don't you try 3 FCW guys? And then Triple H was like, oh yeah, people love to forget that part. Triple H put him in that group. Not Vince. Vince didn't know who the fuck those 3 guys were till they showed up with turtlenecks, and he was like, turtlenecks and batons. He was like, the fuck? And shields. Who gave them a shield? Who writes for this? Like, we're gonna show up with literal shields. Lord, can you imagine? That would have never worked. I'm
No.
so glad they changed it. See, sometimes Vince does have good ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Who knows what will be the next big thing like that? I don't know. I don't know. From what I see right now, there isn't going to be another Shield type thing to come out for a while.
Well, I mean, there hadn't been another Shield thing for a while, Cause I mean, I stopped watching for a long time. The Shield brought me back legitimately. So I don't know. Uh, yeah, I think this is.
Hopefully something works in the Superstar shakeup. But I like just today. The quarterly numbers came out, and ratings are just going down more and more every year. 10%. They said 10% alone from last year to this year.
Yeah, they got to do something because, like, they practically own all the fucking wrestlers. So if something can't pop from this, like, wrestling is doomed. And we need wrestling.
Yes,
All right.
Wrestling is a constant in my life at this point.
So, before we get out of here, is there anything you want to plug? Advertise. Tell the good people about.
Well, basically, I do my own podcast called Big Money Talks every Wednesday at 11, and that's my solo act at the moment. Until I'm definitely going to have you on one day.
Yeah, yes. And where can they listen to that?
My Twitter account, that would be at Nicholas Drew 91, and you could follow me there, and I post about it. I put up the links, and I do it live, so anybody can come in and talk to me, and we can have just a swell time.
Yeah.
My voice.
All right. Thank you so much, Drew, for helping me out tonight. I'm going to get on Andrew's ass wherever the hell he better be either asleep or like in an emergency, or I'm going to get on his ass.
Andrew
thank
Swift
you
is in the doghouse right now.
Right. Thank you, everybody who stuck around. I really appreciate it. Please follow me at Melissa Malice Joe. And follow Andrew, even though he did not show up for you. And Andrew M. Swift on Twitter. And always remember to go hug yourself. Bye.